Right, hello, and thanks a lot for tuning into the Gig Pod live section of the Celtic State of Mind Quadruple Charity Weekender. I'm Stevie, and I'll guide you through the next hour of this special live podcast. Now, as you can see, I'm not alone, and since Alex Kearney pulled out of coming on, there's a real miracle of Christmas. Rizzo, get out of bed in time to do this podcast. John, good afternoon. Yes. Are you drinking cider already, or what?
No, I've decided to be professional. I've actually even got some notes and a bit of paper, like the good old days. No, I'll wait until the game starts before I start getting stuck into my ciders. Amazing,
right. Well, look, before we talk about the football, Rizzo, we're on here for charity at Podomania. So the Pod Tims had their fatal four-way last night, and the Grand Old Pod guys are covering the main event later. You had Celtic Underground and the Celtic Daz doing the No Hold Barred event. I'd say we're the intercontinental slot here, so...
we know probably the bathroom break, probably.
No comment. So it's been extremely successful so far, and there's been over £15,000 raised. You were in the
It's more than that now, by the way, to £18,500.
That's sensational. So you were in the Terry Wogan role last week. So lead us away, John. Why are we doing this?
Right, well, you're breaking up, but there's 4 charities that we're raising money for. Rock Talk, the Food Fact, Friends, Food Bank, Children First and Help for the Homeless. 4 great charities. Of course, Celtic were founded as a charitable club. Charities which Celtic's always been about. And to find out more, and if you want to donate, go to at ACSOM pod on Twitter, a Celtic State of Mind pod, and the link will be there in the Kickstarter. And so far, we've raised £18,516. There you go.
Sensational stuff. That is absolutely amazing. I didn't realise it was that much. I thought it was just like 15,000 last I checked.
It was, but it's not up. Probably because the fans knew that we were coming on. They were wonderful words of wisdom.
Right, well, look, an introduction to us at Glasgow's Green, aka Gig Pod. Now, for anyone asking themselves, who are these clowns? Let me assure you, we're the most professional clowns in the biz. We now use microphones. We take out every cough and sniff before we release a podcast, and more importantly, we do about 2 minutes worth of research as well. But it wasn't always this way, as originally when we were founded in 2016, and there was another member who had to chuck it due to work commitments. We were in that invincible season when we started Gig Pod, and we were there pretty much every step of the way, every week, kicking every ball. Also interviewing Mark Reaper today and sharing a buffet at the end of the season with Neil Lennon himself in that Jockstein Lounge. It was mainly highs. The only lows, however, been when you were on, Rizzo, as well, was covering Celtic in the PSG games. Now, we chucked it. I know, let's have a moment of reflection there. We chucked it in October 2017, but we made a return for this historic season, mainly because a nuisance known as Spunkphone, that's genuinely he's a prolific Twitter user. So he was on at us. He's actually a guest a few weeks ago, but he was on at us constant, just to bring back Gig Pod. And eventually here we are. We're back with a bang, and our gimmick is we keep it all condensed in half an hour because people's attention spans have pretty much deserted them nowadays. Yep. So this hour is going to be a novelty. John, I have to ask you, have you enjoyed being back, or like Riggs and Lethal Weapon? Are you too old for this shit?
Of course I've enjoyed being back, Stevie. I love getting to talk about Celtic with you every week. It's great. Although our return did coincide with a truly terrible run of form for Celtic, so I hope we don't get the blame for that. We probably will. But we should also point out that years and years ago we also did a podcast with 4 Tims and a podcast stalwart, Bruce Hillboy.
We did indeed. Did you see him last night? Did you see that jumper he was wearing?
I did. It was just typical Bruce, that's all I have to say. I would expect nothing more for the man.
Right, look, I'm not going to go on about his jumper. He got dog's abuse for it last night. It's became iconic, and I'm sure he will review it in New Year with Neil Lennon. But look, before we talk about the Hearts game today, right, so let's get into the past 3 finals of the Quadruple Treble era. So, as you know, I gave up a ticket for not 1, but 2 of them. But let's start with the first one, the Invincible Treble, May 2017, Celtic 2, Aberdeen 1. I watched it at home, but John, you were at Hampden, and for once you were an animated individual. Talk us through your memories and experiences of that day.
Oh, it was unbelievable. It was nerve-wracking because even though we dominated that season, we didn't play that well at all in the final. And you'll probably remember that Aberdeen missed a right good chance to go 2-1 up when I think Johnny Hayes sort of either he played the ball long, and I think it was McLean that missed it.
It was.
And then I was at the game with an unnamed person who works for St Mirren. But we were like, I think we're going to blow this. And then Tom Rogic, star man, one of my favourite ever Celtic players, turns up with a moment of genius. And the celebrations were sensational, apart from if you're Stevie Dunn. But no, it was amazing. Probably, even though I don't get emotional, of course, I'm a man of stone, I did feel a tad emotional at the end of the game. It was just an amazing achievement. I mean, if we'd got to that final and no won it after that unbeaten season, it still would have been great, but that would have took the gloss off it. But it was an amazing day until we went 2 years after it.
Well, I was about to say, now for everybody watching this, I'm sure there's, I'm going to assume 40,000 people by my estimations, but John, you have never let me live down my celebrations after that game, so go, you can rip into me, tell the audience what was so bad about my behaviour after that game.
Well, no, it was because you lived near Hampden and you heard the goal being celebrated by the fans, or you heard the roar before you saw the goal on TV. So you decided not to go mad and celebrate. But then when we went 2 years after it, you were god mad and celebrated when Chelsea equalised against Arsenal for some unfathomable reason. Defend yourself.
No, I can't, because...
Thank you.
I can't. I'm going to have to skip. No, talking about that particular game, though, I think it was just because I knew, like, beforehand. I told you, like, you know what my shtick is. I always say we're going to win.
Oh, good, it's a shtick, new final.
Why there was I actually got to see an eye roll there. Is that what you do off camera every time we do this? But we beat Aberdeen, what was it, 5 out of 5 already that season, and every game was pretty much, we steamrolled them. In some cases, we went to Pittodrie and battered them a couple of weeks beforehand, and I never once thought we were going to have any problems with it. But the final turned out to be a wee bit closer than I would have liked, unfortunately. But yeah, anyway, getting into the celebrations, I remember saying, still to people in the chat I was in before the game, I remember saying, we're going to score 3 minutes into injury time. It's not going to go to extra time, because we were relentless. We were battering them for about 15 minutes. Like Sinclair, Roberts missing chances. We were all over them. And then when Rogic scored, it was just inevitable. I knew it was happening. But yes, I did hear the roar about 15 seconds before it actually showed it on the TV. And then when I saw the goal, it was a polite applause, and you've just never let me live it down.
But I don't understand how you want to run, jump up and down the house going mad. I know you had your child, but you still could have, like...
I actually didn't. You're just making this
up.
No,
you did. That's right. Yeah, I forgot. I forgot your mum was watching her. But I don't know why you didn't lose the plot. I mean, I certainly did at the game, and I'm not that type of guy, you know. No, that's enough slagging. Let's go into a happier day for you now. The season after the cup final against Motherwell, the 2-0 win, one of the best days of your life. So tell the viewers why.
It was. So you're talking about me not losing the plot in that particular game, but the Motherwell one I did. I think as well I had a personal wee beef with Motherwell. Just that was at the start of the bizarre live, laugh, love social media era.
I know you loved it.
I know they were working me into a shoot. So anyway, at that game, the game that I didn't give up my ticket for this time, we obviously won 2-0, and McGregor and Cham, they just settled it early. That was one of the, again, before I go into how it was one of the best days out, somebody a player that's never mentioned in that game was Moussa Dembele. I thought he was outstanding that game. He bodied Motherwell completely. I mean, there was at one point, even just setting up Cham's goal, I think he laid it off to him, and there was like 3 Motherwell players around him. He just used his strength so well, and he's been such a big miss for us, especially in a season like this when you need a pure brute up front. Dembele would have been brilliant for us like that. But anyway, to get into the game itself against Motherwell, before the game, it was myself and another unnamed individual who were sitting together, and we were sitting, I think it was at maybe the area, the stand opposite. Do you know where the dugouts are at Hampden?
Aye. Mm-hmm.
So I remember going to come up for Aikenhead Road, and I remember saying to this individual, look, I've lived near Hampden all my life, I know what I'm going to do, I know how we can take a shortcut. So this individual, again unnamed, was rolling his eyes going, I don't think you know what you're doing. And I had a few drinks before it, right? So I'm just in my arrogant persona, no Dales can convince me that I know best here. And I went, like, we're going to take this way. This will get us into the ground quicker. Then we'll just take a big shortcut to go in. And this individual the entire time's going, we're not going to get in. You're taking us around the wrong way. So I'm so adamant that I'm right here. And it turns out, right, that we actually go into the gods of Hampden to the point where you can't actually cut from this area to go round to your seat. And this was 10 minutes before kick-off, and I seen my face, John. I was mortified. I mean, genuinely, I just put my hands up and I went, I tried to get out it by going, it was a work. But no.
Your usual get out.
It's my usual get out, but this person just wasn't having it. So
how was it one of the best days of your life then?
Because I ended up getting to see it. I ended up pleading with a steward, and the steward took pity on me. I think I was nearly tears in my eyes, and he went, right, go in your seat. So we got to see it. The game itself was settled early. It was a roasting hot day, and I think after it,
did you go to Celtic Park?
Didn't, because we went into the city centre after it, and we just got steaming. But it was just a brilliant day. It felt like such a long day, and unlike the previous final, there was not any rain at all. It was just a sun splitting the sky in Glasgow day. It was fantastic, and it was just a real party atmosphere. And the scenes at Celtic Park after it, I saw the next day. I was oblivious they were even happening, but it just looked like it was such a great celebration. It was brilliant. That's what I've been, winning a cup final is all about, really, isn't it?
And I had to work and I missed all the fun. So let's talk about last year's final now. Another interesting day. Again, you gave up your ticket and I was working, and it was an interesting aftermath to the game, shall we say. But let's talk about the game.
Well, where do you want to start? Because the first half was a non-event. It was terrible. It was awful. A rubbish game of football. Only came into light in the second half. I think, was it Edwards that scored for Hearts, wasn't it?
Aye. Former Partick Thistle legend.
See when he scored, did you think at that moment, because Brendan Rodgers wasn't the manager, because we'd been stuttering a wee bit in the league under Lennon, we had like a few goalless draws, I believe, as well, and we had to really rely on last minute goals against Hearts before it, and then Dundee, I believe, at Dens Park to really seal it, and obviously Rangers after that too. Did you think our luck was maybe running out and it was going to catch up with us at any point?
This will shock you, but yes. I thought because we've been playing so ropey, even no as ropey this season, but by our standards we were playing ropey, I thought, oh no, we've blew it. Lenny's not going to be the manager. But then thankfully Eddie won that penalty, scored at his cell, and then done his usual with a winning goal, superb finish. And then after the game, it was announced that Lenny was getting offered the job after talking to Peter Lowell in the showers. So that was interesting after enough. I remember texting you after it, in fact, and we were both incredulous.
I was like, I was seething at first, and then I just, as I always say, I respected it. I just laughed because I was like, well, me getting raging's not going to change it, and or this moaning's not going to change anything. I'll still try and enjoy the summer. I can understand why so many fans were incensed, though. It was such, as I always say with Celtic, every time we do a podcast, John, there's so much sentiment. It's a subject I'll get on later when we talk about today's game, and there was just so much emotion with it. Instead of just taking a step back for a business angle and going, is this the right move? It's done now. Lennon's the manager. We can't do anything about it. But do you have any particular memory about that Hearts final in 2019?
Just really, Eddie was the star man. I mean, he done brilliant for the winning goal, anticipating Lustig's header, and hopefully he can do similar today. If he's on form, the sort of guy that could win you the cup final himself, like he did last year. And like even when he played against Rangers in the cup final last year, he only played for about 30 minutes, half an hour, but he was a massive player for us. So, I mean, none of the games have been absolutely brilliant. They've been tense and exciting. The Motherwell one was pretty dull, still won. So, but I'd take another Motherwell today. An easy 2-0 win. But we'll talk about the game in more detail later.
Yeah, I just wanted to say before we get on about one of our next segments is talking about Hearts games in December over the years gone by, but let's talk about a meltdown that both of us had in 2012. Wasn't it a final, but it was against Hearts. It was a Hampden special from our friend Neil Lennon. Hearts semi-final 2012, the game that broke me for a while. It was a reminder, I guess, of Neil Lennon's team being heavy favourites and then being absolute idiots. Now, particularly me in that game, I mean, I completely lost the plot after the game. We'll get to that in a minute, but I guess when we look back on that, it's maybe a wee reminder that we've been here before against Hearts, you know, overwhelming favourites. We've got the far better players, we've got unquestionably a better team, but finals are just a one-off game and anything can happen, as we saw in that fateful day in 2012.
It'll help and all if we get any headers like 6 yards out. We don't manage to miss them twice like Key did. I think he missed 2 headers like Felix 6 yards out somehow. But okay, that was just one of the days. I mean, we did sort of get cheated as usual by the referee. I mean, it was a terrible decision. You ran down to the front of Hampden to remonstrate for some inexplicable reason. I think I left just right after they got the penalty. So because I thought we've done it now, we're out. And I don't usually leave early, but I thought I want to get an early start back to the bus. But I missed all the craziness after it, like with us not getting a penalty in the end. But you never, and made a fool of yourself. But you live and learn. You were only in your late 20s.
I believe that I think the ref that time was it Ewan Norris?
I'm not sure. So, I don't know.
So much, as I say, we do 2 minutes worth of research on GigPod, so it's shining through here. But no, I mean, I did. I was so convinced that day we were cheated. I ran down to the front of the stand. It's, you know, where the Green Brigade are behind the goal.
Yes, I remember it well.
I ran down to the front of the stand, screaming abuse so vile to the ref and the linesman that if I repeated on here, this wonderful charity event would get pulled, and we can't have that when so many people have put in hard work.
Hold on a sec. Mm-hmm. Well, you know the other memorable semi-final as well, when we got that against Inverness, where we get cheated. You were? I was
at that one. I
wasn't at that game.
Because you had a personal vendetta with Ronald Dyler, didn't you?
Oh, that's right. But no, you didn't go as... You weren't as intense that day.
No, I wasn't as raging that day.
You weren't as emotional.
No, I wasn't. I think just because, I mean, that season was just a strange one as well. But I expected us. I think we went ahead, didn't we, through Van Dijk with the free kick. Yep. And then it all just fell apart when who got sent? Craig Gordon got sent off, didn't he?
Craig Gordon, who we'll talk about later.
Yeah, today's game. Yeah, he got sent off. Solskjaer came on, and then after that, because it was Adam Matthews, I think, that couldn't make the tackle. So.
Aye.
Gordon brought down the attacker. But I remember it was after that, as soon as we went down to 10 men, that was a moment in my head at that semi-final. I went, nah, we're done here.
We still equalised, you know. John Godet.
That's right, that Essen sold the jerseys, didn't they?
I did,
for a free kick. Then also I think it was David, That's So Raven, that scored the winner. But
quote the Raven, not again.
Never more. No. So, I mean, look, I'm not wanting to make it too negative and all that, because... No. We have had a couple of horrors at hand in Lennon said them. I mean, you can talk about like Kilmarnock final in 2012 and St Mirren 2013, but let's move on before we drag everybody down. I think we're down to 30,000 viewers now after that wee moment of negativity. But like talking about Celtic Hearts games, I mean, first off, let's be honest here, this is mad that we're having a final in December. It's not really hit home, has it?
No, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why maybe the media, apart from the fact that we probably still don't like Celtic lads. It's like even the build-up starts on BBC. I think 1:15. I mean, see, back in the good old days, like, the final build-up used to be on all day. I know it's still December, and there's no fans. But come on, give the final a bit more respect. I mean, I think people will try and we won't, but I think people, quote unquote neutrals, will try and do down this achievement, winning the cup today. Like, I know we're no happy about Celtic this season, but I mean, 4 trebles in a row is never, ever, ever going to happen again. And I think more should be getting made of it.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. I mean, I'm actually stunned that it's still in play. I know the league get pulled last year, last season, this year, rightly so, but and I'm very surprised the Scottish Cup didn't either. What was the reason for that? Is it just down to
I think they were hoping. Well, sponsors, and I think they were hoping the fans would be back by now. I think they tried to delay it as long as possible, but of course that's not happening. We couldn't. The idea to move it to Inverness, which the Inverness chairman or chief executive had, was sadly didn't happen. But that was up. Did you hear about that?
No, this is news to me.
Inverness, I think the chief executive offered to host the final because they can get fans. They wanted 150 Celtic fans and 150 Hearts fans to go to the game, and they would have played it at Inverness Stadium, but the SFA turned it down because they said it contractually had to be played at Hampden. That would
have just been weird. I mean,
it's weird enough as it is. But
yeah, I've got to say, for once, I would rather watch it at a empty Hampden than up in Inverness with 300 fans not being able to properly celebrate it. That would have just been even more bizarre. That's mad.
I know. I couldn't get it when I read it. Good bit of research here, me.
Brilliant research, Reeds.
Thank you, brother.
The brains of this amateur...
brains of the operation.
amateur operation, if we will. No, so, as I was going to say now, look here, we're half an hour in. We usually finish by now.
I know, unbelievable.
How many Red Bulls have you taken?
No, I'm getting through natural adrenaline.
Right, well, natural adrenaline is how we felt over the next couple of games. I don't know about you. I mean, I wrote down talking about some Celtic Hearts games in December over years gone by. There's 2 that really stand out for me, good ones. The first one was Celtic 1, Hearts 0, 1997. Craig Burley scoring. That was when Hearts had a right good team then, and up until maybe April.
March.
Was it March? Yeah, you're right. Okay, showing your age there, John. So they did have Hearts had a right good team that season. For any listener who might not know how Hearts haven't always been a jobber club, as you know, languishing in the Championship. They were really, really decent, and that season they ran Celtic and Rangers all the way, up until pretty much the end of March. But that was a game that we really had to win, and it was pivotal in us stopping the 10. And I remember it was a strange game though, wasn't it? Because we had all the ball, but we couldn't really break Hearts down. They were a right stubborn team. They set up really well against us, and then you had Craig Burley just take it in the chest. I think Larson might have set him up, and he volleyed it in. I think
that may have been Harold Bratback's debut.
Because that's right, back in the days when we used to there was no transfer window. You could sign players in December, you could sign players in February and all that, couldn't you? It was a strange era. I mean, I loved that era. Growing up watching Celtic, growing up watching football was brilliant. But that particular game, I always remember sticking in my mind when I was sitting in the North Stand, Block 102, that I remember my granda saying to me how big that goal was, and he was right, because in the end, every point was critical that season, and stopping the 10 and winning the league, and that Craig Burley goal, it's so well taken, and it was just a pivotal moment for us.
It was a big win. It's hard to believe now that games against Hearts were like sort of title deciders in a way, but they did push us for a long time that season. But no, Craig Burley might divide opinions now because of what he says, but he was a brilliant player for us. His first season especially, man. I think he won Player of the Year, fully deserved. Of course, scored the goal against Rangers at New Year. Oh no, he never. Was it him or Jackie Mack? Was him when it was him? Jackie Mack set it up. Of course, Jackie Mack set it up. But no, he was a great player for us that season, and that was a big game and a big win.
It was fantastic. I mean, lest we forget as well, to anybody that doesn't know, Craig Burley, just like he was on the Four Tims on a podcast, he was a guest for Gig Pod 2 back in April 2017. He was fantastic, really, really good to speak to, dead insightful, and as you say, he did split opinion, yeah, but he was a really, really good guest, and personally, I mean, he was a brilliant player. It's fair to say that I'd say the player that took over for him in terms of like replacing him was probably Stilian Petrov in the end, wasn't it?
Yep, it was. I would say that Stan was probably Probably even
to-
better than him.
Yeah,
But
aye, agreed.
right, next game.
Next game I also noted was Celtic 1, Hearts 0. Victor went quite similar to the Craig Burley gaming goal. Victor Wanyama's amazing strike in 2011. He also had Fraser Forster, who was a huge part that day. So Wanyama and Forster both really played their part in. I guess it was started 1 in a row. It was a season that kicked off where we are now to try and get to 10. But aye, what was your memories of that day?
Oh, Victor's goal, I think it was outside the penalty box.
It was,
and in the
yes.
top corner, it was a belter. And then in injury time, Hearts get a penalty, shockingly enough. But Big Fraser made a vital save. I think that was during was it like 23 game unbeaten run or something.
It was like midway through, yeah, because we kicked it off at Fir Park in the end of November.
No, Rugby Park.
Yeah, you're right. But the real sort of run was when we beat beat Motherwell at Fir Park in 7th of November 2011, and we really went on some run. I know me.
Well done.
Thank you. I was talking about it with Grand Old Podcast Hamish a few weeks ago though, so that always stuck in. It was in episode 2 we did a gig pod. But yeah, my memories of it was when Yama scored that goal and Forster made the save. Do you know it was very similar to? It had parallels of the game against Man United when Nakamura scored that crucial free kick, but then you had the save from Boric. So it was like the save, just like Forster's and Boric's, it was probably celebrated more than the actual goal itself. It was just so pivotal. Pivotal, there we go. You see, I'd usually edit that out. I can't do that now. Pivotal, I meant to say.
Yes,
but they were great. Now, also, one that I've pointed out was a strange one in 2013 where there was all this talk about us playing Hearts and it was going to be such a tough game for us and Hearts were going to be up for it. All the cliches, but in the end we won 7-0 when we beat them in 2013.
Was that in the Cup?
It was indeed. Lustig scored an absolute screamer for like 30 yards out and off the bar. It was a strange game because I think Common scored a hat-trick as well, I believe.
By any chance was that game of Football in Utopia?
Yes, that was that one. I remember now. You always had that right being your bonnet about that one, didn't you?
It's because Hearts were so crap. I mean, if we beat Rangers 7-0 or something, fair enough. But I mean, come on, Hearts. Well, if we win today, if we win 7-0 today, it'll be a Football in Utopia.
Hearts did get relegated that season as well, didn't they?
They did. They won the much Gop.
Gutted for them.
Shame,
and the other Hearts December game that I remember having a real weird feeling about was the 2-2 at Tynecastle. Near Beaton opened the scoring. I think they equalised. Tom Rogic made it 2-1, and then that Osman So scored a screamer a free kick in injury time. Watched that in a pub.
You watched it in a pub with me.
Were you there?
Aye.
That's right, yeah. So that's how memorable it was, John. But we were both. Unfortunately,
I think an Aberdeen fan and a Rangers fan were there as well.
They were actually. You're right. It was a very strange experience. But when that goal went in, you still. I mean, it was just symptomatic under Ronnie Dyer in that season, wasn't it? The players. I mean, at 2-1 just switched off. It was some strike right enough, but I think that particular game was just the one where you had just exhausted your patience with poor old Ronald.
On reflection, it's probably a bit harsh on Ronnie. I mean, he was on a hiding enough, and really, it was never going to be easy for him. And he won his 2 leagues, and I don't know. I'm more patient these days with football managers.
I know, I'm noticing that. Right, well, look, we do indeed have the game against Hearts today, John.
Yes.
Your surname is Reid, but 2 weeks ago it might as well have been Park because you scouted Hearts while you were working at Capello. So, give us a lowdown on them. Who should we watch out for in this Hearts FC team? Come on.
Well, they weren't much cop, first of all, because I've seen their opponents Morton again, who oddly enough are now third in the Championship, which is weird because they're not very good. But no, I mean, Hearts, I mean, I think their best player was probably Andy Irvine, who's a midfielder, who sort of kept them going forward. It was him that set up Jamie Walker. He scored both the goals. He set up their second goal with a great sort of cross-field pass that Walker ran onto. He's probably a guy I wanted to stop. Him versus Brown could be interesting. I mean, their old pal Andy Halliday played that day. He he didn't really contribute much. Him and Irvin were sort of taking turns between one pushing forward and one sort of staying in the midfield. Naismith played, but he was quiet really. And Craig Gordon didn't have a save to make. So, I mean, I'd say they're sort of, if they were in the Premier League, they'd probably be like 7 for 8 or something. I mean, we don't have problems with teams like that. We only have problems with teams that are bought in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, though? Because, John, do you buy into this myth that people are saying that Hearts are a Premier League team? Because the last time I checked, Hearts were getting gubbed in the Scottish Premier League. They'd won, 4 games out of 30 odd. They were dismal to watch. And they've created this amazing narrative, like, during when COVID shut down the league. They've created this amazing wee fantasy that for some reason Hearts were unjustly sent down and they were going to claw points back against the bottom 6 teams who, as far as I can remember, they only beat one of. I think it might have been St Mirren 5-2 at Tynecastle. They were appalling to watch. They were really, really bad last season. And that manager, that balloon Stendhal. I mean, Robbie Nielsen's
although
a better manager.
he did beat Rangers a couple of times.
That's what made it even more funny. But I mean, Rangers after the bye, John, me and you could have played up front for anybody and get a result against them. Says a lot. But no, so I'm sorry, Hearts are where they are, deservedly. And while that is the case, I don't think like today's just going to be a walkover where we've got to learn our lessons from the past against them. But talking about, us, how you reckon we're going to line up? Will Hazard start? Will Turnbull start? Will Soro start?
Well, there you go, that's what the big questions. Hazard, no. I think Barkas will come back. I think we bought Barkas to play in big games. This is a big game. I think he'll start.
It's a bold shout. I don't agree with you. I think Hazard's going to start. I would
rather Hazard started, but I think it'll be Barkas.
But even though, Hazard's kept a clean sheet in the defence, seemed really solid and robust against Kilmarnock, you reckon that he's going to switch that up? Why would he do that? That would make no sense, surely.
Because of what I said, he was signed to play in big games, and this is a big game. I mean, I know he's not been great for us, but I think Lennon will want to give him this game. Not to prove a point or anything, just to show that that's why he was signed. Midfield now.
Well, let's talk about the defence. I mean, who's going to be? Do you think Julian and Duffy will retain the centre halves partnership?
Mm-hmm. I do, and I think Ayer will play it right back.
And then what about at fullbacks? Who's going to be there?
No, I said Ayer will be right back.
So you did.
I think they'll play Ayer at right back again.
I think the defence takes care of itself. The midfield is where all the questions are posed, because I know that there's so many Celtic fans, ourselves included, about who's going to be there. Is it going to be, Brown just coming in? Is Soro going to be keeping his place? I think the biggest one is we've got to have Turnbull there without a shadow of a doubt. Now, let's see, if Brown's had a week, Brown's not had that way where he's had 3 games in a week. He wasn't playing against Kilmarnock, and we didn't have a game in midweek. And it's fair to say, players in the team should be rejuvenated and refreshed a bit. So even if Brown does play, it's not going to be like, red flags and panic stations or that. I think he'll be fine. But the big one is the creativity in midfield now, because if McGregor's going to be probably likely be in beside Brown, and we know what McGregor's like when he can't be as creative or as energetic in the last third. He's got to cover a lot of what Brown can't. But our creativity, and it's so vital that David Turnbull plays, and he's sitting ahead of McGregor and Brown. We need, you saw, I mean, even just these set pieces alone, we are much more of a threat now. We are much more of a threat now at set pieces, John, when David Turnbull's ready to take a corner or a free kick into that box. You've got Julian and Duffy even ready to hit. There's another one that would have been edited flawlessly.
That's your name for him, the Duffmeister.
I know. I'll say that was a work shot. No, but Duffy and Julian are just ready to attack anything, and we look like a far better team when he's playing now. It's vital that he starts, and I'm sure you agree. But do you think he will?
Yes, I think he will. I think he's already shown how important he is in only 2 games. he just adds a new dimension to the team. As you said, even our set pieces are much better. He loves playing like through passes in midfield to like players further forward. I'd be much more confident about every game going forward if Turnbull started, and I just don't see any reason why we'd leave him out. I mean, he's playing too well. I think Sorrow will be on the bench, which I feel a bit sorry for him, and I think Brown, McGregor, Turnbull, but Turnbull has to play. There's no reason for him not to play.
No, I agree with you there. He can't be left out. And as well, his confidence, you look at in the last 2 games, his confidence will be going through the roof. He'll be right up for it. And I don't think, Hearts won't have been... I'll go into Hearts in a minute and about what I feel about them at Hampden, but I don't think... you look at... Hearts won't be used to being up against a level of player like him week in, week out in that championship, and that's where it's vital that he plays. I can't stress that enough. Now on the wings, who you going with? Because I think I've got a feeling it's going to be Christie and El Yunusi on the wings.
I hope it's not Christie in the wing because it doesn't work. I mean, I wouldn't play Christie at all. I'd keep him on the bench. So, I don't know really. El Yunusi I think I'll definitely play. I know you'll be happy with that because you're a big fan.
The prophet himself.
But I would keep Christie on the bench. I mean, we're playing better with him not in the team. And I think he'll be in the bench now. Do you think we'll play 1 or 2 strikers?
I think we'll play 1. I think Edouard's going to be up front.
I would think so.
I know he's been off the boil and he's been nowhere near as prolific as he was last season, but look, this is a big game for us. He's a big game player, and if there's any player that I do trust, to be one-on-one, it will be the big man himself. And it's going to be quite interesting because Craig Gordon, who he's going to be up against, will know. So he's played with Edouard and he'll know his tricks. He'll know maybe when it comes to penalties where he'll put it, stuff like that. So it'll be interesting, but I'd be very confident going with Edouard. I just think he's still the main man for us up front, no matter how his form is. And I think, if there's anybody that's likely to get a goal for us today out of nothing, it will be either El Yunusi or Edouard, and I'd be going with him, definitely.
El Yunusi playing I would play El Yunusi just behind Edouard. I wouldn't play him on the wing. But I don't know. I mean, we'll find out soon because the team will probably be out by the time
half an hour or so. Probably about half an hour or so, won't it? Probably
less than that. I mean, it's 1:45. Game kicks off in 90 minutes, so we'll find out soon.
Can I just tell you something?
Yes.
I'm just checking a couple of things on my phone because I don't usually check my phone when I'm doing these, but apparently your curtains are getting an absolute slagging.
They're not mine, they're Manty's.
So is that a guilt trip? Is people going to be now having to take that back because it's your auntie's curtains?
What's the problem with them?
I don't think there's a problem, but people apparently are giving them pelters. I don't know exactly what's been said. I'm just checking on my phone, just saying Leeds' curtains are getting a slagging.
I mean, as long as it's not my bald spot or mother horrendous problems. But,
Right, Buzz McAllister, let me move on now to the big bit that I'm a wee bit concerned about is, it's a reminder that Hearts have turned up and they've beaten Premiership opposition this season at Hampden already in Hibs, and Craig Gordon and Stephen Naismith, and as much as we give him pelters, as much as he is an idiot, guys like Andy Halliday do carry experience, and it's not going to be a stroll in the park today, and we really should win. But are you concerned about the fact that they've already beaten Hibs, and are you concerned about the fact that they were an underdog before and they rose?
So I've just saw the comments about the curtains.
What are they saying about the curtains before you answer that?
I'm truly hurt here. I'm not going to dignify them by mentioning it, but I'm truly hurt here, and I'm expecting an apology from my aunt.
Do you know what's so funny, John? It's in this world of being kind, #be kind, and
yes,
this is a charity podcast as well for mental health. Your poor mental health is getting taken to the cleaners. Do you need 5 minutes to settle down? Do you want me to carry the rest on myself while I do that?
I'll only be able to survive by going and drinking a load of bottles of cider after we finish. But,
hold on, what kind of ciders are you drinking now?
Kopparberg, the day I've got.
That's actually alright. I was expecting. Oh, do you know what? I was expecting to hear Flatworm Strongbow or Frosty Jack or something, but no, Kopparberg's alright.
No, I'll go and buy a bottle of that to drink during the park after we win, of course. just sit in a bench somewhere, raise a bottle. We've done it, lads. That's what I'm saying. But Right, back on to Andy Hardy, what were you saying about him after we get sidetracked the mad curtains?
Right, do you have any concerns about the fact that Hearts have been underdogs before and rose to the occasion, and maybe this sort of thing suits them more? Are you a wee bit concerned about that at all? Because realistically, the pressure's off of Hearts here, and it's all pretty much on us. It's a free shot for them, and everybody is watching us, waiting to fail. And I'm just wondering how much of that is going to be playing in the minds of some players and all that today.
No, I'm more concerned about what we do, really. If Hearts end up winning it, it'll be because of our mistakes. I mean, we are much better than them. I know that's not been a factor like in the past this season where we've get beat off Ross County or drop points to other teams we should be beating. But it's about what we do today. I mean, I don't really rate Hearts at all. We are much, much better than them. And if we're smart, we'll win. So I think it's not to do with them being underdogs. It's more about us being smart and sensible, which we haven't been too many times this season. But hopefully, in the last few weeks, we've showed that we are being smart and sensible. And if we do that, then the Scottish Cup will be where it belongs in Celtic Park.
I agree. I mean, it's like Motherwell when he played us in the second final. Aberdeen and Hearts the season before, this one, they were all underdogs as well, and Celtic were professional enough to turn up and do the business, and that's all we have to do again, and just focus on that. And it is just all about us. It's it's the Craig Gordon factor. He's been there several times with Celtic. Stephen Naismith's, done it with Rangers, and I know Andy Halliday hasn't, but still, that experience will definitely still help Hearts, because he's been to Hampden plenty of times in the past and all that as well. Let me ask you this one, right? See if, and I highly suspect we will, but if we do win today,
yes,
will that reignite our season?
I don't know. I think winning at Ibrox would really reignite the season. I think we're expected to win this game, and obviously winning isn't easy. Only big teams and good teams can win trophies. They don't lose to teams like St Mirren. But I mean, it will be good just to show that we've still got the mentality that seems earlier on this season to sort of go out the window, that we're able to win big games. So I don't know about sort of restarting the season, like kickstarting it again. I don't know. I mean, I think for that to happen, we'd need to win today, then every game up until Ibrox, and including Ibrox, and if we do that, then we're really right back in it. What do you think?
Well, I like the fact that a lot of these players will be needing a lift, they'll be needing major confidence, and I think winning a trophy gives you confidence. And I mean, the fact that the players, we've seen how Lennon Celtic went on, they weren't at their best last season before the Rangers defeat at Celtic Park. Aye. But after they beat Rangers in that game, we didn't really deserve to. We still went on a run after it. You saw under Rodgers' teams when we won the Betfred against Aberdeen and Motherwell in those games too. We still went on a run after them. Maybe Rodgers' second season, I think we faltered a wee bit, drawn to Hibs, and then we get beat against Hearts. But the fact is, a win of a cup does give a lot of players confidence. It brings a feel-good factor to the fans again. And you know what? They've just got to enjoy it if we do win it. It can't be one of the ones where it's won and then all of a sudden the next day it's back to negativity. It should be enjoyed. It's never been done before. And I think after this season and after the year it's been, and especially after yesterday's news, we get more COVID restrictions. I know it sounds daft and it's a cliche, but stuff like this in football does give you a wee bit of a lift day to day, and it's going to be... It does, and I don't think there's any Celtic fan out there that, despite not agreeing with Neil Lennon still being the manager, despite not agreeing with how the club is ran, despite not agreeing with the way that this season's went, I don't think there's any fan out there that's wanting us to falter against Hearts. You need to have a boost back, you need to have a feel-good factor back, and honestly, I think if we do win today, it will go a long way in seeing how this run goes, because I don't want to think about not losing, but for talking if we don't, then we've got this run coming up where we played Ross County, who have now they'll have a new manager in place, they get rid of Stuart Kettlewell, and you know what that's like when a team's got a new manager, and that it's always a trickier sort of fixture. So that's going to be tough now already.
Aye.
We go away to Hamilton, who they've won again, and
Plastic
Hamilton,
pitch.
And Hamilton now look as if their wee spell they've got out of that, because they won yesterday. They look as if they seem to do it every season. They'll be getting a boost for that, and then we've got Dundee United, who I watched yesterday, and Benjamin Seagrass, what a performance he put in against Hibs. They didn't even deserve to draw. Hibs should have massacred them 7-0. And they'll get a boost for the fact that they drew a tough game away yesterday that they were expected to get trounced in, or they should have get trounced in. So it ain't going to be as easy as what we think. And
I know, but I mean, if we've got any hopes of winning the league still, we really should be winning the games you've been talking about. I mean, it doesn't matter how good they're playing, we're better than them. And it's time that we showed that, really. And as you say, if we win the day, it should give the players a boost going forward.
Yeah, definitely, especially guys like, Turnbull, guys like Soro, guys like Connor Hazard, you know what I mean, lifting a trophy.
That's how I'd hope.
Being winners, and then, as I said in the podcast last week, you've got a guy like Hazard who's now won a trophy. He keeps a clean sheet again today. That defence just trusts him more and more, and all of a sudden, this is a guy that's going to grow in more confidence and stature, and it can only be a good thing for the club and the team on the pitch in this run to come.
I was just checking if the team's been announced yet, but unfortunately,
what did they say about your curtains? Are they slagging them still?
I'm not looking at that. No, I'm too upset about that. I'm looking at Twitter now to check if the team's been announced, but none yet. But there have been fans at Hampden not to see the team coming in, so there you go. But I mean, I don't know. We should win the day. I mean, bottom line, we should have won.
All right, Stone Cold.
That's the bottom line, because John said so. Need to smash a couple of cans later on. But no, I mean, what do you think would happen? We've not talked about this. What do you think would happen if we didn't win? What would happen with Lennon, do you think?
Well, as the board have already said, Bruce Hillboy's jumper will get reviewed in the new year, and it looks as if it's going to be the case that even if the unthinkable happens today, it does look like he's still going to get until the new year and nothing's going to change. But I mean, people are going to be scunnered. People are going to be, adding to it yesterday's, the mood around the nation yesterday was pretty grim, pretty abject. And if the unthinkable happens today, you're going to have a lot of really, really annoyed people. I don't think we would see the same scenes what we saw against Ross County, but there'll be a lot of calls for the manager and the coaching staff to be forcefully removed from Celtic. I personally don't think it would happen, even in the event of a loss today, but let's just hope that doesn't happen. The thought of Hearts and their fans online and gloating and never seen, they go on about that 5-1 stuff against Hibs, don't they? Like 8 years later, they don't shut up about it. So can you imagine what it would be like if they beat us? You never.
We
really
don't go on about games for the past, though. We don't do that.
No, certainly.
We've too much dignity.
Of course, especially as Celtic fans, me and you, John, being the old school that we are. Yeah. So before we go, we're nearly up here. We've got 4 minutes to go, and
my goodness.
I know, but you're starting to get a nosebleed, I can see, because that's what that half-hour slot we usually.
It's the light for these natural, beautiful curtains. It's shining through. What's your prediction for the?
I was just going to say for the shoot. Who's the host here? Sick.
Alright, sorry. Actually, we're co-hosts with equal 50-50.
I don't know about that. I have had horrendous back pains since November for carrying this podcast, brother. But
now, hold on a second. In fact, I've just thought, see, before we give the predictions, do you want to plug our podcast special coming up podcasts?
No, I'm not going to do it yet because I'm waiting until it's all 90%. But the fans will love it, and there's going to be a competition that we're doing as well.
That's right.
But yes, I'm going to wait until it will probably be announced tomorrow or Tuesday for the next upcoming chat podcast we're doing. It's going to be a massive feat to follow Spunk Phone, but here's hoping this certain ex-player can do it. I know there's a lot of pressure on, but he handled pressure in certain games against Rangers very well. But And the competition will be really cool for fans. It will just be good to do a giveaway, and good luck to everybody concerned when it comes to that. But no, we're going to be back anyway tonight. We're going to do a review pod, so hopefully we'll be able to patronise a lot of Hearts fans. Hopefully I'll be able to, you know, sneer my way through it for half an hour, and you'll be able to agree with everything that I say as well for that time.
I don't know about that, but the rest, yes.
And yeah, so you asked me for a shoot prediction. I think I'm going to go with, I think Hearts might score, but I think it will be 3-1 here. I think 3-1 Celtic, and I'm going to say goal scorers will be, I think Edouard's going to get back in the score sheet. I think El Younes will score. And I'd like to see it rounded off by Turnbull.
Yeah,
it's what he deserve. But I also can see a defender like Duffy or Julian scoring as well.
Aye.
I think we've got it right in us now, because Hearts with their set pieces, they'll have like Halkett and that Popescu guy at the back, so they'll be quite a threat as well. But I reckon 3-1 Celtic. What about yourself, Rizzo?
Similar margin, 2-0 I'm going for. I think Eddie and El Younes a goal in each half. Hearts will hopefully score early on. Hearts will probably have a spell where they give a couple of problems and then score the second after about 60 minutes, and then that'll be it. We can just take it easy the rest of the game, and then we're playing like 3 days later. I just realised we're playing Ross County Wednesday, so no lot of time to celebrate. I mean, it'll be weird after the game. I mean, the players will just get the trophy. If we win, the players will just get the trophy, then that's it.
Aye.
Neil lap on, alright. What a sad day.
We deserve a lap of honour, John, for doing this for an hour. We're out of a wee comfort zone of 30 minutes, but I think we've handled it well. But somebody that's handled it far better, I have to say. Look, a huge thanks to Paul John Dykes for organising this event, asking us to come on, and I think for everyone for tuning in. Like, hopefully more money is raised through the course of the day. Well done to all those podcasts that have taken part already, and a good luck to all the other podcasts who are involved. The Grand Old Podcast guys are on in the main event tonight. Hopefully they're reviewing, hopefully the other is reviewing a good Celtic win. But at GigPod, again, as I said, we'll have a review pod out after the final. We'll do a recording tonight. We'll get it out for you, you know, about 9 or 10 tonight. Hopefully talking about another Celtic victory at Hampden. I'm Stevie once again. Thanks a lot for tuning in. John, I'll let you sign off in style.
Right, I'd just like to say apologies for these curtains for a start. I'll learn that lesson for next year. But as you said,
you won't be asked back.
Well, that's true. I'll do it in a darkened room next year. But as you said, Stevie, brilliant effort by Paul to get this incredible achievement done. Really, with all the different Celtic podcasts, to raise money for 4 charities, and hope that it was a memorable weekend. I'll just plug the podcasts again, and I'll just plug the charities again. Rock Talk, Food Fact, Friends, Food Back, Children First, Help for the Homeless. Again, if you go on at ACSOM Pod on Twitter, the GoFundMe link will be there to donate on to this brilliant achievement. In fact, I'll just have a look there now, possibly. You see how much that we've raised. The last we saw was over £18,000. Well, I can't do that. I can't get my phone to work. Oh well. But brilliant work by Paul and the rest of the guys. I mean, this is Celtic are all about charity, and everybody's came together for an incredible event. And we'll be back on GigPod later tonight with a review podcast.
And let me just say, finally, the last words. That was emotional, John. That was lovely. Now, I used to think there was only 2 legends at Maryhill, and that was Bertie Auld and James and Jim Duffy. But I would like to now go on record and say there's 3. John Reid, you truly are. What an honour it is to be doing this with you. What a guy.
Thanks, I'm touched. Truly a wonderful comment, and thank you.
We've been GigPod.
Oh, wait a second. By the way, the team has just been announced.
Right, well, I think
Hazel starts.
Right.
And so does Brown, and so does Turnbull.
Okay, well.
So there you go. We'll leave that to the next guys to talk.
Leave that to the next guys. Let's not be greedy here.
That's true.